Back here with another winning lineup review. This is from the Valentine's 2/14/2022 NBA shot for 50K. This is won by CP for free. Shout out and congratulations to him, although that's a very questionable name. Again, still shout out and congrats to him. This is a little series I do where I walk through the winning lineup from the previous night, go through the guys' plays, and see if we can have a little insight on how these guys contributed to the winning lineup and see if we can use this in the future for our own lineups. As always, if you like these videos and want to keep seeing me pump these out, go ahead and drop me a like down below and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into this. First point guard spot, really a shooting guard here. We have Donovan Mitchell. The Jazz came in last night against the Houston Rockets, highest team total on the slate. So some guys are going to score a lot of points there. Mitchell's the lead dog out there offensively, so it's a good bet it's going to be him. Since his injury, he's been averaging about 15 plus shots a game, 33 minutes played, and about 30% usage. So a good guy, good floor guy who's going to go out there and give you guaranteed plenty of minutes, plenty of shots. Has a good opportunity to go out there and put up some fantasy points. Last night he almost had a near triple-double last night against the awful Rockets defense. And as I mentioned, the Rockets have been pretty awful on defense, play little to no defense. Don't really have much of a defender out there. And on top of that, it was a big pace-up matchup for Utah, so that certainly helped Mitchell last night. Second point guard spot here, we have Josh Giddy. This game came in last night, pretty awful Vegas total. I believe the total was under 210. It's supposed to be a blowout, 10-point spread. But as I previously mentioned with this OKC team without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they've been keeping these games close. I believe ever since SGA has been out, they've maybe only been blown out once, and they blew out a team once. But every game since then has been pretty competitive. With Giddy here, it was announced about a week ago that he'd be on a minutes limit to kind of help his workload and not overwork him, and also kind of help them tank a little bit. But I guess that kind of went out the window last night. He got some extended run. He got up to 38 minutes last night, put up 22 shots, and had 36% usage. Even though he had an overtime game last night, we take those 5 minutes away, and he still played 33 minutes above his supposed minutes restriction. So maybe that's something that's going to be, released leading up to the All-Star break. Who knows? But that certainly helped him last night, and he certainly produced. Had himself a nice triple-double out there against the Knicks. Second shooting guard, our first shooting guard here, we have Chris Middleton. Kind of an obvious play. Came into this game without Giannis. That opened up more minutes, more shot opportunities, especially for a guy like Chris Middleton. Without Giannis, you're just the two beneficiaries of Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Portland's been a little stiff against point guards, so bit of a tough matchup for Drew. So kind of open up for Chris to kind of lead the team here, as he did. Played 36 minutes, 15 plus shot attempts, kind of on par with what he's been seeing with Giannis out. He also is a guy who has the ability to contribute in all static categories. As we see, 1 assist shy of triple-double last night. A little bit of rough start last night. Came out, and I believe he had 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes, so a quick sit there. Without that, I believe we could have had a bigger game from him. Also came into this matchup with Portland with very good history. Over his last 2 games versus Portland, he's been averaging 44 points. And came close to keeping that trend alive here at 42, but we'll go ahead and give him a pass for that. Second shooting guard spot, Seth Curry, newly acquired out there in Brooklyn for the bizarre James Harden trade. Brooklyn Kings game last night came in the 3rd highest game total with the tightest spread on the slate. So it was certain to produce a good fantasy player last night. Curry definitely was that. Although Bruce Brown was the guy out there last night, he was the king of that game. I believe he had the most points overall last night, around 53, 54. But Seth Curry did well nonetheless. Again, no Kyrie, no KD, no James Harden. So plenty of minutes and shots to go around. He got the start out there at shooting guard. And he's a guy who can, shoot the ball obviously well. And again, contribute in all stat categories. Had him a fairly good game last night. Came in, first game, played 32 minutes. 30% usage and took about 18 shots at a fairly cheap price. If he's going to keep getting this kind of playing time and these shot opportunities, this would be a guy we want to keep an eye on in the future, especially with his price being so low. Our first small forward spot here, we have Josh Hart, a new recent addition. He's a recent addition to Portland's lineup. He's pretty much the second option for scoring out there. The first guy being Anthony Simons. Josh Hart, kind of second in command, shooting the ball. He was a guy out there in New Orleans who could put up some points and again contribute in all areas. More of a physical, get in there, hustler, get you some rebounds, some assists, some steals, and some blocks. He certainly proved that last night, getting a little bit of everything. Like I mentioned, he was the main fiddle, second fiddle out there. And Portland, he played 36 minutes last night and took about 16 shots, And he also came in this game with great history versus Milwaukee. He's been averaging 42 points over the last 2 games against Milwaukee, and certainly kept that trend alive, putting about 49 points last night. Our second small forward spot, again part of this OKC game, who's going to be a common theme throughout this lineup. Evan Fournier, no RJ Barrett over the past 2 games, I believe, for the Knicks. And over those past 2 games, Fournier's been averaging a solid 30 to 33 minutes, which is a big boost for him. He's again a guy who could come out one night, put up 30 minutes, and the next night put up like 18 minutes. So it's nice to see him with a solidified at least 30 minutes. And he's been putting up a good amount of shots. He's been putting up about 15 shots a game. Just been shooting really poorly those last 2 games. And tonight he kind of put it all together and was able to hit some shots and contribute with some rebounds, assists, and some defensive stats as well. OKC didn't have Lou Dort last night, who, as we all know, is a great defender. So without him, there was no true wing defender out there, and that certainly helped Evan Fournier. This is also part of the overtime game as well, so about 5 extra minutes. Obviously going to help him out as well. Our first power forward spot, we have Darius Baisley. This guy's been simply on fire ever since he's been given the reins to start at power forward. He's been averaging about 33-plus minutes a game and been taking about 15-plus shots a game. I believe over his last 2 games he's been playing, over his last 2 games he's played, he's had 17 shots and then 21 shots. So definitely a guy they're kind of just letting him, be the main scorer out there. Again, no Lou Dort last night, so that's going to open up some more minutes for him on the wing and some more shots. He ended up playing 39 minutes last night and got up 17 shots. And again, part of the same game, he got a boost to playing in overtime as well. First power forward spot, we have Bobby Portis. No Giannis again. That's going to open up some more minutes and some more shots for Bobby in the front court. He got up to about 32 minutes last night, which is kind of on par with what he's been playing this season. And he got about 15 shots. That's like about 1 or 2 shots above his average. So not too big of a boost, but a little boost there for Bobby. Again, he's coming in with a very solid matchup against Portland. They've been hemorrhaging points to bigs. Over the past 15 games, they've been the top 5 points allowed to bigs. It was mentioned before that Bobby had to switch to power forward instead of his usual center with the addition of Ibaka. And I believe Ibaka didn't play many minutes at all, about 25 maybe. So that kind of led Bobby to play a little bit of power forward and center. And so it didn't phase him too much. He also came into this game with great history versus Portland. As we saw earlier this year, he had a 50-point game in only like 24 minutes. So he definitely loves playing against Portland. And the public knew that, as we can see him with about 36% ownership. And here we are at our final spot, center here. Again, another piece of this OKC New York game, Mitchell Robinson. As we previously mentioned, when this guy went up against Utah earlier this year, he's simply a monster when he's given the minutes, and he isn't in foul trouble. Last night, those all kind of aligned for him. Ended up playing 40 minutes, which is insane for him, and he only committed 1 foul, which again is insane for him. And as we can see, when he gets that kind of playing time, big double-double and big defensive upside as well. As we mentioned, in these previous ones as well, OKC is they don't really have a true center out there. James Robinson Earl's been out, and I think he's going to be out for the next 4 to 5 weeks. So we've had Favors in there, and Favors is a pretty good defender, but he's more of an old veteran, kind of a stiff mover. But recently they've had Isaiah Roby come back, and he's been the new starter out there, a younger guy they're kind of wanting to get a look at. And it hasn't gone well for him defensively in these first 2 games. The first game back, he went up against Vucevic, and Vucevic put up 55 points on him And so now we have Roby versus Robinson, and Robinson ended up putting up 56 on him. So this is definitely a spot we want to keep an eye on. If Roby continues to start out there, as these centers have been feasting on him. And last, this was also part of the overtime game, so you got a little bit of a bump there as well. That's going to go ahead and conclude this one here. Again, shout out to CP for free here for the win. If you guys like these videos and want to keep seeing me pump them out, again, drop me down a like below. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Helps the channel immensely, and allows me to keep pumping these videos out for you guys. Thank you, and see you again tomorrow night.